Hi again guys, and welcome to episode 58 of B-Road Ballers, the review series for Gran Turismo's Hot Hatch selection. And in this particular pick we're featuring one of a couple of vehicles from French dealers which are really easy to overlook. Cars which don't really stand out at all. They're very easy to just look through, basically. You can look straight at this car and not even think about it. And the vehicle is the Peugeot 307. Now in the Peugeot dealership there are quite a few vehicles which aren't necessarily the most eye-catching. You've got your 206s, your 207, your 307, even the 106s to some degree aren't exactly the kind of cars that would grab most people's attention. Generally, the kind of people that will buy those cars are people who already know how good they are, such as fans of the car, which is especially the case with the 106s. That car does have a lot of strong fans, and for good reason. It's a brilliant vehicle in both rally and S16 form. This car though, this car is different because it doesn't stand out at all. Technically, it is a hot-ish version of the existing hatchback, but it's not exactly a hot hatch. It's the Peugeot 307 XSI. This car is underwhelming, to say the least. You can easily go straight past this car in the dealership without even giving it a second thought. But the question is, what does it actually have to offer? Because in some cases, of course, the cars which don't draw attention to themselves can sometimes be among the best options available. Think Lexus GS 300, Isuzu Piazza, and various others. So, what does this car have to offer? Well, as far as spec, you get a 2-litre turbo engine, front-wheel drive, as you'd probably assume, and in fully tuned form, it puts out some interesting numbers. It's not necessarily earth-shattering, of course, but 313 horsepower and 245 foot-pounds of torque certainly aren't bad. Neither is the fact that this car only weighs 1,030 kilos. Now it is front-wheel drive, so the lower weight isn't too surprising, but still, this isn't a small hot hatch. It's bigger than the 206 and the 207, so for its weight, being as it is around the same kind of size as something like a Megane or a Focus, that's not actually a bad weight at all. Now as far as horsepower per tonne, you're looking at 304, which given the lower power than some others isn't bad at all, and the fully tuned PP is actually very good. This car sits at exactly 475 pp in fully tuned form, and that, if you think about it, especially for a vehicle with 313 horsepower, that only weighs 1,030 kilos, is really good. That's some strong specs to have at that level. Now this car only costs just under 28 grand, so potentially you could have yourself a decent sleeper car, but that of course all comes down to whether or not it's quick, and also of course how well it performs around corners. So how well does it perform? Well, in a straight line of course it has less power and torque to work with, so it's not going to worry something like an S3 or a Focus ST anytime soon, but it's a good rival for stuff like your Megane Sport, your Golf GTIs, and various other, not necessarily low-level hatches, but say mid-level. Stuff with around 130 to say 200 horsepower in standard form. For those vehicles, this is a great rival. And it's also, of that group, one of the most understated. Now, as far as cornering ability, because that's obviously very important with all cars, but kind of especially so in the case of a hot hatch, I would say it's pretty good. Now, the front-wheel drive on this car isn't designed to cope with 300 plus horsepower, so it is a little bit more inclined than some to spin up its tyres, but overall I have to say the handling on this car and the overall drivability, even the fun factor to be honest, is pretty good. The handling is better than you'd probably assume, the drivability and the manners of the car overall are excellent, and it is actually pretty fun to drive. Now, is it the kind of vehicle which you'll use all the time? Well, no, it's not. I don't think many people would expect it to be. In fact, I don't think I've ever seen anyone use this on any Gran Turismo game. Obviously people have, but I've never been witness to that. So, if you are looking for not necessarily a hot hatch technically, but a hatchback that's capable of giving you hot hatch performance, then you may want to check this car out, especially if, of course, you are a fan of less obvious choices, cars that really do fly well below the radar, sleeper cars, basically, and affordable ones at that. For that category, this car's actually pretty good. It's not mind-blowing, but you may want to give it a try. But that's it overall for this particular pick. I'll see you guys next time, and as always, thanks for watching.